everyone, it's Jenny from Art with Jenny K. Today I'm here with a teaching video of how you can make your own monochromatic Degas dancers. They could look something like this or something like this. This video is going to show you everything you need to know, give you all the steps and the instructions, and point you in places you'll need to go to get supporting documents. The supporting document will have handouts that look like this. These are the templates that you can use to make this project the way that I explain it. Let's talk through a little bit of the supplies that you're going to need for this project. First of all, you're going to want the supporting document that has the template that I used for this project, and you'll be able to download that from this video. You're going to want a large sheet of paper that your students are actually going to fold in half and then fold in half again. Now, the most important part is that 1/2 of the page is at least 13 inches tall, so that the template of the dancer will fit once they finish. So the way they're going to use this paper is they're going to paint this half with their darkest value, and then they're going to paint with their medium value and with their light value. So you'll want a piece of paper that's large enough to accommodate that. This paper is 14 inches by 17 inches. This paper is the paper that I then mounted the dancers onto at the end. And this paper is 12 inches by 18 inches. Now, I really encourage you to have your students make their dancers in lots of colors and to provide lots of different background colors so that when you display them, there'll be a large range of bright colors to show off your dancers. So you'll need the different paper, you'll need the template, and then you're gonna need different paints. Now, this is where it comes to your choice. I've used acrylic paint because when acrylic paint dries, you get a really nice plastic finish that it's not chalky and it doesn't get everywhere. However, acrylic paint, you have to use it very carefully with students because it doesn't come out of clothes, it won't come out of your carpet, so you want to use it very carefully with your students. And the way that you can do that is just walk them through one color at a time, obviously explain to them that it won't come out of their clothes, and then they'll say, what about my skin? And of course it will come out of their skin. You'll want a palette if you have one, or little cups, or an egg carton, just something to put your paint in. And then you'll want a variety of paint brushes. Now, you'll also need scissors, a pencil, and if you're doing one of the variations, then instead of all the large paper, you'll want 3 values of one color or multiple colors for your students. And I'll explain how you can do this variation if you don't want to actually do the painting part of this project. Anytime that I can incorporate literature into my art project, I try to do that. The book that I use when I teach this project is this one. It's called Degas and the Little Dancer. This book is the perfect book to accompany this project because it talks about the little girl Marie and how she wants to be the most famous dancer in the world. And you'll find in the book, I'm getting chill bumps, you'll find in the book that she doesn't get to become famous the way she thinks she wants to be famous, but yet she does become the most famous dancer in the world as she's the model for Degas' most famous sculpture. Now your students are going to take the large sheet of paper and they're actually going to fold it in half and then in half again so that they get 4 equal parts. This is obviously a great time to talk about fractions. So now what they're going to do is they're going to paint 1/2 of the paper in their dark value. That's going to come right out of the tube. And then they're going to paint a medium value and a light value. So let's watch that happen. So first we're going to give them their dark value. Now there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either put it directly on their paper or you can put it in the palette. I kind of like to just go and squirt it on their paper, but you might want to put some on their palette as well. That's up to you. So then you're just going to simply have them paint the paper. You want to give students all different colors so that at the end they have different dancers and they get to see different value scales of colors. Now once you have that done, you're going to go around and give your students some white. Then you're going to have them create a middle value with white and the color that they started with. You're going to ask them to go ahead and make both of their next colors so that they can see that there's a change. Then they'll take their dark color and they'll paint this piece. So this is just a great time to talk about mixing and value and color. And of course, kids, there's not much that they love more than mixing paint. This is not a hard sell for students. Then you'll have them take their lightest color and paint their last section. Now this is what you'll do on day one of this project because these obviously have to dry. Now, the next part is to cut out the templates. This part's going to be a little bit tedious the first time. However, if you do it really well once and then you put all of your pieces into an envelope and put Degas Dancers on the front, then the next time you do this project, your classes will just simply get out the pieces and do the project. What I recommend is copying these onto cardstock so that you have them pretty sturdy. You'll see that number one, these two pieces have to glue together to get the right size, and they're all numbered and lettered. So 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E, so students will know which are the 2s, which are the 3s, and which is the 1. Now, when they cut these all out, the way I did it was I put kids in groups of 3, and then I had one kid cut out one, another kid cut out another, and another kid cut out the third, so that not one student had to cut them all out. When they're all cut out, the students are then going to lay them on top of their piece of paper that is dry, and then they're going to start tracing the shapes and cutting them out. So they'll want to put the 1 into the dark space. They'll want to put the 2s into the medium value, and then they'll want to put the 3, which is the lightest color, into the lightest value. Then they'll start to build their dancer. Now let's talk about a variation that you could do. If you don't want to do the painting, you could have your students do a graphite transfer of these shapes onto paper that is already has the different values, so monochromatic papers. So I'll take number 3 for an example. They would turn it over. They'll need to see basically the shape. They would then do a pretty heavy graphite transfer. This is a nice tool for students to know how to do. Then they would flip it over and then press along the line. And they should get a light outline of that shape, which they can then go and retrace. It saves a couple steps. And then you won't want them to write 3B inside because that's actually going to be their piece, but they could write it on the outside. So once they've transferred all of them, then they can cut them out and then put them together. For that, they'll get something that's a little bit more like this. And it's certainly a fun way to adapt this project if the painting is not something that you can do with your students right now.